Welcome to my final Transformers movie toy review. This time we're going to be looking at the Premium Series Leader Class Megatron figure. I'm going to be going from robot to vehicle mode this time instead of the other way around, just because the transformation for this toy going to vehicle mode is a lot trickier than going from vehicle mode to robot mode, so that's why I'm going to be doing it that way this time. Just by looking at the robot mode, it is just a overall repaint of the original leader class version, but has some additional sounds changed for the toy. But the entire figure has a very metallic gray. It's not exactly silver. It's about the same. Probably a little bit darker than the silver that was used on the grill for movie Premium Prime. And getting real close, you can tell real well on his waist here that he has little pieces of that's not really brown, but it's kind of just darker gray, put all over parts of his body just to give him a very kind of dirty, rusted, aged look, which really works very well for the character instead of having a icy blue color like the original one. And on the topic of the colors, even this figure has the same amount of gold, as you can see here on his arms and torso and legs, but for whatever reason, because of the color, the overall color of this being kind of more metallic gray, the gold stands out much more than on the previous edition. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but whatever they did it right. Another color change is that these wings, or whatever they're supposed to be, and the light piping used on the head is a lot darker red than the previous one, which is more of a pink, which I'll show you in a comparison in a second. He is extremely posable. He has full range in both of his arms and has some very unique finger articulation where all except for two little appendages on his fingers can move. One right there is not able to move, and this one right here, but it still gives him a very alien look, which I really liked with this Megatron design. As far as weapons go, his main one, you fold in the claws and fold in the hand, stand out the cannon, and this has a spring in it, so you have to keep this plastic tab pressed down and it activates his fusion cannon. He can either have the fusion cannon with his just one arm, or he can combine his other arm along with it by closing up the hands, folding it in, and attaching it at the hand joints right about there. And that's what you must see him use in the movie, especially in his one-on-one brawl with Optimus Prime. One thing they did not fix, which I'm really disappointed about, is this arm still does not have the spring for it, which they fixed it for the Japanese release of both the premium and the regular edition for this toy, but you still have to just press this down, the button, which would normally shoot it out, and pull it out. And this activates his mace. And to give it the full mace look, you want to close down the hands and straighten this out. And now, the way the mace works, there's this black button on the side here, and pulling it back and letting it loose swings the mace around. Now, the way this works is that when you press down the button, it basically just tightens down the string and stiffens it, and when you release it, just goes slack, and doing that fast gives it the swinging motion. Yeah, and this little tab here can pop on and off fairly easily. There you go. Especially when you don't realize how hard you're opening it. So I know there's ways to fix by putting the spring in there, but you shouldn't really have to be able to put the spring in it to make it work properly. They should do that at Hasbro itself. And the sound change, instead of having the weird reptile sound with the original one, when the Automorph, you get the classic transformation sound, which is a nice touch, just like with the movie Premium Prime figure. We do a quick comparison with the original release. While I did not mind this when it first came out, when you look at them side by side, you can definitely see the overall advantage that this release has, and begin to question why this was released in such a dull color to begin with. Well, and you can see more here. These wings are more pink, and these are more red, including in the light piping here. Zoom in so you can see. And looking back on the original release, you can still see, if you actually try to look for him, you can still see the amount of gold on certain parts of him, but it doesn't stand out nearly as much as it does on this one, which I'm not sure if that was intentional or accidental, but it's still good how it turned out. And this one lacks all the blue that is present on this one, giving it a full aged metallic look. If you're familiar with the original figure, you'll have no problem with the transformation. But if this is brand new to you, then it's going to be a little tricky, because as I've heard and I verified for myself, the instructions are pretty much useless, especially in the leg area. I'm gonna start by press down this button. Actually, I'm gonna raise this up a little. There we go. Press the button so the wings go in. Disconnect the arms from the torso. Fold in the hands. Then swing out the weapon pods, as I call them. Disconnect the head from the rest of the body, and detaching it from the body releases the wings and nose cone, but don't quite do that just yet. First you want to detach the tail from the torso. And then you can swing out the nose cone and attaching it via these two pegs right here to these holes. There you go. And swing the head around and flip up the face cover. Oh. And that actually does, while it is pretty snug in there, it's almost too snug that it's almost pressing it out. And swing the front part of the torso around. Attach it for now if you want, but the best strategy for getting the legs around is actually detaching that later, but I'll get to that. Fold the arms down and rotate them around so these gold pegs are facing upward, and they will be going up into these holes here, which is barely secure because these pop out quite often. flip this around 180 degrees. Now, detach the torso here. This is my best way of getting the legs around. And just instead of rotate the legs all around, just bend them to the side, which will fold up the feet like that. Then keeping this down at an angle, swing up the lower torso, and if you just position it just right, once you swing it all around, you'll be able to clear everything. Just like that. All you have to do is snap in the legs into the wings, and then make sure the chest here is firmly attached. Okay. Yep, see, during that process these arms popped out. Okay. And then extend the nose cone. And there he is in his vehicle mode, which is a Cybertronian jet, which has the same overall color scheme of the dark metallic gray, but for added effect, similar to the robot mode, he has these scorch marks on the front of the wings, which I was really surprised to see. It kind of gives him the kind of like how if he was burned while entering Earth's atmosphere, which is a really good touch. That's really the only kind of darker gray you see in this mode. You can still see some a little bit on the arms, but nothing that's really unique to this vehicle mode. You can still pretty much use his fusion cannon in this mode, but it wasn't really designed to. Oh, and the one more piece that has it is right here. Little scorch marks on the three tips here. What this vehicle mode does lack in features, it really makes up for it in detail, especially on the front end where you can has this very alien ship look to it, where you can see like wires. I would have still liked to see some more detail in as far as paint apps going here, which a lot of customizers have done to their Leader class Megatrons, but it doesn't stick out, doesn't look as bland as it does in the original release as in this one with the more metallic gray paint. And it still has, when you press this button on the top, it still has the very annoying sound featured in the original release. Overall, it is still very nice looking. Lacks a lot of features that could have been used, such as before the movie came out, the designs for this vehicle said it had 3 modes, like where the wings were tilted in separate positions, and where I guess you could consider this one mode and this being another, but that's just part of the transformation. I would have liked to see more intentional mode changes for the vehicle mode, as with the design with the movie character was supposed to have. I personally really like this mode, but it's all due to personal choice and opinions, because I love the alien aspects of the characters from the movie, so any Cybertronian mode that's supposed to be their original form is a plus for me. While this one, this form got a lot of hate amongst fans, it's a personal favorite among mine as for Megatron vehicle modes. But overall, as a figure, it is pretty disappointing as far as what they changed. As far as retooling the figure, the paint job is fantastic. Besides, the paint job is really disappointing, because if you look at his head here, as I accidentally press the button. The head is exactly the same, while it is having more detail as far as having metallic finish to it. It still has a pretty much just dull black face, which from a distance just looks boring. I would have liked to see, at the very least, a different color face so you can see that he has sharp teeth, to give him more of a monster look, as you can clearly see in the movie. But you can't really see his facial features in this toy unless you get real close up like this. Overall, I really wouldn't recommend getting this figure if you had the original one, but unless you're really looking for, as far as paint applications, a much more movie accurate version, which a lot of people seem to be doing. But overall, it is just a repaint, which I usually shun, but this one gives a huge improvement as far as the paint department goes, but lacks the same features that the original release has. So I would really only recommend this for anyone that's really looking for the most movie accurate version of this toy, or if you never got the original release. Alright, until next time, thanks for watching.